the $0 survival water filter that could save your life when the taps run dry. Every faucet, every bottle on a store shelf depends on a fragile chain of pumps, power, and treatment plants. Break that chain and the illusion collapses fast. Within hours, water pressure fades. Faucets cough, air, toilets stop flushing. And suddenly the brown creek behind your house becomes the most valuable resource in the world. History has seen this moment more than once. Frontier settlements, wartime cities, storm-ravaged coastlines. In every case, the same lessons surfaced again and again. Water is everywhere. Clean water is rare. Drink from the wrong puddle, and the result is swift and brutal. Parasites, bacteria, chemical runoff, and microscopic threats hide inside water that looks harmless. Dehydration is dangerous, but contaminated water can end a survival situation even faster. That is where one of the oldest survival secrets comes in. A simple, rugged system built from scavenged materials. No power, no expensive gear, no chemicals, just gravity, fire, and knowledge. Welcome to the $0 survival water filter. The rule that decides survival experts often talk about the rule of threes. 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Food can wait, water cannot. The human body is built like a walking reservoir. Muscles, organs, blood, and brain all depend on water to function. Lose too much and things unravel quickly. Fatigue sets in, thinking slows, organs begin to fail. Now imagine the grid goes dark. Pumps stop running. Treatment plants shut down. The water system collapses silently across an entire region. The only sources left are raw ones. Ponds, streams, rain pools, floodwater, even roadside ditches. But raw water carries a hidden army of threats. Bacteria like E. coli, parasites such as Giardia, agricultural chemicals, industrial waste, tiny particles of soil, and organic matter. Boiling alone will not solve everything. Heat destroys living organisms, but it does nothing to remove dirt, metals, or chemical contamination. Before purification, water must be filtered. That is where a simple field system shines. The forgotten power of layered filtration. Long before modern treatment plants existed, people understood something simple about water. If water moves slowly through layers of natural material, it becomes cleaner. Riverbanks do it naturally. Wetlands do it slowly. Even underground aquifers perform this quiet filtration over years. The same idea can be built by hand in minutes. The design is simple. A container, a drain hole, 3 natural materials stacked in layers, gravel, sand, charcoal. Together they create a crude but powerful off-grid filtration plant. And the best part is that every material can be scavenged in the wild. Building the 5-gallon survival filter, start with a standard 5-gallon plastic bucket, the kind used for paint, food storage, or construction. This bucket becomes the entire filtration system. First, create a small drain hole at the very bottom. A drill works best, but a heated nail or knife will do the job. The hole should be small enough that water drips slowly rather than pours out. Next, cover the inside of the hole with a piece of clean cloth. Cotton works well. Old shirts, bandanas, or even tightly woven fabric can do the job. This cloth acts like a final guard, preventing the filter materials from washing out. Now, the real work begins. The charcoal layer that attacks toxins. The bottom third of the bucket belongs to charcoal, but not the kind found in store-bought briquettes. Those often contain chemical binders and fuel additives. Avoid them completely. Instead, use hardwood charcoal from a campfire. The black chunks left after wood burns down are perfect. Crush these pieces into small fragments about the size of gravel. Then fill the lower third of the bucket with this crushed charcoal. Charcoal is far more powerful than it looks. Inside every piece are millions of microscopic pores. These pores trap and bind contaminants in a process called adsorption. This is the same principle used in modern water filters. Charcoal helps remove heavy metals, chemical compounds, and many forms of pollution that boiling cannot touch. It becomes the chemical defense layer of the system. The sand layer that stops the microscopic threats. Above the charcoal comes the sand. Clean river sand is ideal, but any relatively fine natural sand can work once rinsed of large debris. Fill the middle third of the bucket with tightly packed sand. This layer acts as a microfilter. When water moves slowly through dense sand, tiny particles get trapped between grains. Dirt, algae, sediment, and many microorganisms become stuck along the way. The tighter the sand is packed, the slower the water flows, and in filtration, slower is better. A slow drip gives contaminants more chances to get trapped. This layer transforms cloudy water into something far clearer. The gravel layer that handles the dirty work. The top layer is the simplest. Gravel, small rocks, pebbles. Fill the upper third of the bucket with these larger pieces. This is the macrofilter. When muddy water first enters the bucket, the gravel takes the impact. Leaves, insects, twigs, and heavy debris get caught before they can clog the finer sand below. Think of it as the shield protecting the rest of the system. Without this layer, the sand would clog quickly. With it, the filter keeps working far longer. Let gravity do the work. Once the layers are built, the system is ready. Place the bucket above a clean container to catch the filtered water. Then pour raw water slowly onto the top layer of gravel, brown water, pond water, stream water, even rainwater mixed with dirt. Gravity begins pulling the liquid downward, first through the rocks, then through the dense sand, finally through the charcoal matrix before dripping out the bottom. The transformation can be surprising. Water that started cloudy and foul often emerges clear. But there is one critical step left. The final step most people forget: filtering alone is not enough. Even after passing through sand and charcoal, microscopic viruses and some bacteria can still survive. That is why the final step is purification, boiling. Bring the filtered water to a rolling boil and keep it there for at least 1 minute. At higher elevations, extend that time to 3 minutes. Heat destroys the invisible biological threats that filtration cannot catch. This two-step process mirrors what modern treatment systems do: first filtration, then disinfection. Together they turn raw water into something far safer to drink. Why this system works so well? The power of this filter lies in simplicity. Each layer performs a different job. Gravel removes large debris. Sand traps fine particles and microorganisms. Charcoal binds chemicals and metals. Combined with boiling, the result is a surprisingly effective survival system. This design has appeared in variations around the world for centuries. Versions of it were used in early settlements, military field camps, and disaster zones long before modern gear existed. It requires no electricity, no specialized equipment, no store-bought filters, just knowledge. And knowledge weighs nothing.